Hurry, hurry. Actually, I should just. No, I've already started. It just it just came to my mind. It was a song by this lady. I forget the name of the artist. Oh, I should have looked it up. Anyways, I've already begun. I forget the name. It's not that irrelevant. It's not that relevant. There's a song called Changes or Same, Just Changes or Same Changes. I forget the name of the song. Anyways, just a moment before I could have actually looked it up. Anyways, she sings a song called Same Changes or Just Changes. And it's not that important. If you know what it is, just look it up in either Facebook search or wherever and put it in the comments just for the fun of it. It's Same Changes or Just Changes. That's the refrain, sung by a lady. Anyways, the verse of the day, which is the whole point, forgive me. The verse of the day is chapter 2, text 13, wherein Krishna says, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. That's why the song changes. Forgive me, Father. That's why the song changes came. Anyways, changes. So the question is, how do we deal with change? Change is inevitable, right? Change is going to happen. The question is, how do we embrace change? How do we deal with change? And we see in this verse, Krishna saying, Dhiras tatra namuyati. The sober person is not bewildered by change. Their consciousness is not buffeted by, is not changed by the changes upon which that person, he or she, is subjected to. The consciousness is fixed. The consciousness, their determination is steady. The changes, the nature of what's going on in the material world does not change their consciousness. Change is inevitable. How do we reach that point? How do we obtain dhira, where we are not buffeted by change? We're not bewildered by change. Two things. There's two ways of doing this. Not two ways, two things we must do in order to not be bewildered by change. The first is on the front end. That is when we take an active involvement in change. Change is inevitable. It is going to happen. That's the nature of Prakriti. That is the nature of this material reality in which we exist. Change, going to happen. The key is to be involved, actively involved in that change. I call it planting seeds. Planting a seed, something grows and we experience that. Now, the key is we obviously don't always know whether what we plant will be beneficial to us or not, right? Who can say? We try to plant a seed that will be beneficial, but in the great scheme of things, we have no idea oftentimes what's going to result from the seeds that we plant in our life. In other words, there are unintended consequences to everything we do, right? We go into a relationship thinking it's going to be wonderful, and it turns out to be a disaster, right? So we don't know. We plant seeds hoping that whatever comes is beneficial for our personal and spiritual well-being. But what's important is on the back end. The front end is planting seeds, being actively involved in the change that is going to happen inevitably. That's the inevitable nature of the world we live in, of existence, change. Planting seeds, something's going to come from it. What is key is the second part of this, which happens on the back end, is when we lose. Change often involves loss. Something is, whether it's money, prestige, love, relationships, freedom, appreciation, any number of things are lost in that change. That's part of the aspect of change. Things come and go. When there is that loss, so the second thing that we have to practice or develop a habit is gratitude. The ability to experience, to be grateful for that experience, to be grateful for that relationship, to be grateful for what had happened, what we may have possessed, what may have been within our sphere of existence, to be grateful for it as it passes, as it moves, as we lose that which we once had or possessed or experienced. So that's what has to happen. That's how we deal with change. On the front end, we take an active involvement in planting seeds. And what grows, we experience that. When it passes, we have a attitude, a habit of being grateful. And that's both for the things that were beneficial to our personal spiritual development and those things which were not, those things which were painful, those things which were detrimental to our well-being or our perceived well-being on so many different levels. There's that, oh, wow, I should have, this came to my mind as well, that movie, oh, good Lord in heaven, Julia Roberts, there's a movie, she played the character, a lady wrote a book, I forget the name of the book is the same as the movie, oh my Lord, it's on the tip of my tongue. A lady wrote a book about her spiritual journey, and then they made a movie out of it, and Julia Roberts played this lady. What is the name? Like the song. If you search, I'm sure you can find it on Facebook, wherever. Search it. It's Julia Roberts in this movie. It was way back about a decade ago. It was a famous, popular movie. Where, anyways, the point is she talks about gratitude, being grateful for the relationships she had in her life and which then passed on. And for the relationships that did not go so well, but she learned from them. And she talked about developing a sense of gratitude. And I would like to say, if nothing else, if the most powerful lesson we can, and habit we can develop in life, besides our devotional practices of japa and sadhana, one of the most powerful practices we can develop is gratitude. When I was going through a divorce, a mentor of mine said the same thing. He was saying, Maha, Visnu, your japa, your reading Prabhupada's books, your Bhagavad Gita study, it's all for naught. Purifying, but until you can see your ex and genuinely appreciate your ex, that determines your spiritual development. Not your japa, not your reading Prabhupada's books, not your dancing in kirtan. It's how you think, the consciousness you have about your ex. That is the level, that is the barometer, not the barometer, the measure of your spiritual growth and development. Of course, at the time, it was in one ear, out the other. But the lesson of that is absolutely powerful, is even those situations, those relationships, those experiences that may have caused genuine hurt, genuine harm, genuine pain, when we are able to see those in a mood of gratitude, be genuinely grateful, find the speck within that situation, a relationship for which we can be grateful, that is what Gita is. When we can find those little grains for which we can be grateful in all of the change that happens in our life, all of our experiences of life, that is Gita. That is not being bewildered by these changes. And it's interesting, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna does not tell Arjuna to be aloof from change. Krishna is saying not bewildered by it, not to be aloof. And that's the mistake the confusion Arjuna had. Arjuna was saying, Krishna, are you telling me to be aloof? Are you telling me to go to the forest, stand on my head and take sannyas, or take sannyas and stand on my head? That was Arjuna's confusion. And he had that confusion twice. 3rd chapter, 5th chapter. Krishna, are you telling me to be aloof? Are you telling me to let go? Are you telling me to walk away? Krishna says, no, you blithering idiot. No. No. Krishna did not call Arjuna a blithering idiot. Forgive me, Father. No, Krishna did not say that. Krishna told Arjuna, he says, no. In fact, that's the 11th chapter. Is that the 11th chapter? Yes, the universal form, where Arjuna is seeing the universal form of Krishna, and all of the soldiers are being crushed between the teeth of the universal form. Krishna is telling Arjuna, this battle is going to happen. The question is, are you going to be involved? You need to be an instrument. That's what I mean when I say get involved. There's going to be change. Change is inevitable. All Krishna is saying, to rise above change, to not be bewildered by it, Krishna is saying you have to be detached. It doesn't mean aloof. No. Detached means you can still be active. That is the entire philosophy of Karma Yoga. Be active. Get in there. Plant the seeds. All kinds of consequences are going to come out. Good, bad, enjoyable, painful, pleasurable, distressful. All kinds of consequences are going to come from our being actively involved in all of this change that's going to take place. Inevitably. On the back end of that, and that's the key to detachment. We were never taught about this. We've heard all the lectures on detachment. We read all the verses on detachment, but no one told us how to be detached. Here's the secret to detachment: gratitude. Learn from my painful experiences on trying to understand detachment. Gratitude. When you can develop the ability to be grateful for every single thing that happens in your life, good or bad, and I use air quotes deliberately, good or bad, when you're able to find the grain of gratitude or that for which you can be grateful in every single situation, you will know what detachment is. Gratitude is detachment. That's the secret. So this is change. It's not about being aloof from change. No, Krishna tells Arjuna, get in there. Get in there. Plant seeds. Do what you have to do. All kinds of things are going to grow from the seeds that you plant. Of course, all of it's going to be out of your control. Yes, we're going to see in the next verse, Krishna calls winter and summer seasons. We're going to plant things, winter and summer seasons. Happiness and distress are going to come out of the things we plant. Whoopity-doo. Get over it. Be detached. Do not be bewildered. Rise above. Don't be aloof. Get involved, but do not be bewildered by it. Live above. Exist above. Do not have our intelligence swayed by the ups and downs, winter and summer. The things that we've planted, fructified, some are sweet fruits, some are bitter. Still, rise above that. Deal with it, experience it, live it, rise above it, and on the back end, be detached. In other words, be grateful. Find what it is in your divorce for which you can be genuinely grateful. In that relationship with that person for which you can be genuinely grateful. And that's how we rise above and are not bewildered by change. Be actively involved in change on the front end. Plant seeds. Change is going to happen. Plant seeds. In your relationship, right? Change is going to happen. If you do not tend to your marriage, change is going to happen. Get involved. Plant a kiss on your wife's forehead. Plant a kiss on your husband's forehead every single morning. Plant. Pun intended. Plant. Because change is inevitable. Plant that kiss on your loved one's forehead every day. What's going to come of it? No idea. Be active. Don't be aloof. Get in there. There's going to be change. It's going to happen. Do what you can to at least try to affect change that will be positive for your growth and the growth for the people around you. Then whatever comes, seemingly good, seemingly bad, be grateful for it. Practice, practice, practice. Make gratitude a habit. It is the most important habit after japa. I wouldn't say after, I would say along with japa, along with Gayatri 3 times.